Basically, I figured it out. So I was born like a special orchid downstairs. Like not a woman, not a man. Something you refuse to understand. My twin prince, Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, my mother said, "Oh, he was such an artist." Yeah, because he concealed the truth that she doesn't want anyone to know. And the truth is, I'm stitched up like Raggedy Andy, and I'm man's gender. I'm mannequin. I could be either one. I could shave and put on lipstick. You'd never know. Or I could. I mean, it's all a drag. It's all a drag. Gender is a construction, and it's all the drag. And I'm living proof. And so I know this, and my family wants it to be a deep, dark secret and abort me as an adult. So they ostracize me and um, provoke me to the point where they even got the mental health nurses that I don't need them, but I thought I did. The mental health nurse would come and visit and say, "So Paul, why do you get up in the morning?" And I said, "Because I'm a sculptor, and that's how I'm restoring my brain after the establishment's campaign to destroy me." And he says, "Oh, really? I know another artist like that, and their final work was to be suicidal." I thought, what, like Jesus? And recently, I went to the psychiatric emergency room and the psychiatric clinic, and was rejected by both. So I mean, to be rejected from the psychiatric emergency room and to be rejected from the psychiatric clinic, pretty much the best rejection you could possibly get. Kind of like a graduation into the sane world. Do you know that at this psychiatric clinic, he had my passport, my driver's license, and my college ID on his table? And I can speak French really well. I can tell you this whole story in French. But he kept telling me, he's looking at my driver's. I'm not kidding you. He's looking at my driver's license, my college ID from Dallas Community College, and my passport, and he keeps asking me what my name is. And I get really angry, and and I tell him, I'm like, this is like weird pressure. This is like you're trying to put me under pressure that I'm not under. You're like putting a butterfly between two pieces of glass and pressing it. And I looked at him and I said, "How many people have you killed with this experiment in terror that you chemically alter because you don't like their different characteristics? So you terrorize them with chemicals. How many kids have you killed this way?" He won't answer me, but he's trying to intimidate me and get me to say that my name is Jesus Christ, and it's not Jesus Christ. Oh, I will say this though. On Amazon, I use the pen name Je suis le cahier because I like that a lot. I am the sketchbook, kind of like this is so old to me. I've told you this before. Um, um, John Lennon when he said, "I'm the Eggman, I'm the Walrus, Cuckoo Kajube." That's hilarious. So, it's very honestly confessional at the same time, and I really like "I'm the Sketchbook" because I am the sketchbook. Because when you're an imaginary person, I guess we're obsolete now. I'm sorry, but we can imagine. So these are your temples, and in here is this space, kind of a domed cubic space, kind of a cube dome space. It's funny. Not really, it's kind of a Frankenstein. It's like this cube thing, and there's a dome, and it's hippodrome. No, but anyway, but my simple explanation is that on the platform in here is a holodeck. Like in Star Trek, the holodeck, and the holodeck is like Mom says, it's a space, just a space. You go into the space. It's an empty room. Close the door, and basically, as Mom says, my godmom, Laurie Anderson. She says, "And anything can happen, que sera, sera. Am I right?" And then she's trying to establish this soldier of imaginary artists that are pioneering the creative spirit. And so, in her feminine military counterintelligence, which is fantastic, she says, "Whoop, two, whoop, two." And it's like a female paratrooper. You have to listen to it. It's like timeless. It is timeless. United States Live, and she's I don't know how old she is, but she's a treasure. In any case, so I just posted that video about what happened at the Newmar um region, and like, oh, it's a funny thing. Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. More not less, Luan, and and then Carnegie Mellon. So now the places that they're forcing, and see, don't forget, my choices are very limited by this tube of Expedia and Google. So my choices are very limited, and they know my patterns. I choose the cheapest place that's pet friendly, and so the last one's called Mellon, and they're also watching my preferences about people that I like, and they're making all of the staff members look like them. Oh, and they heard about my um, kind of theory or modus, which is to have everybody win, have a rad win win. And that's also the name of one of my favorite porn stars, a rad win win. He's a massage therapist who has the line at the end of the rather wonderful release of tension. He says at the end of the session of massage, and it is a legitimate massage session, but he says the wonderful line. He says, "Feel better." So anyway, so I was at the hospital, and I'm having cramps and hot flashes, and I go into the room and I need water, and I know that like this side is blue, and it's this right side. This side is blue, it's cold, and this side is red, it's hot. And at first I know what to do, so I turn it to the hot. I need the hot, put the hot on my forearms, and just a sprinkle on my head to shock the because I've been electrocuted so many times a lot because I work with electronics. Plus, my father would say things like, "Go outside and play in the backyard with them sprinklers and wear them shorts. I've got the electric fence on." One time, I was shocked with a light bulb that had broken during a storm that was hanging down on the chickens, and my father, in his divine wisdom, had created this system of electric homemade electrics. So it was like it was plugged into a socket that had a pull switch and a socket. And I'm like 7, 6, 7. So it's like a pull switch and a socket. And I didn't know that I didn't know. It was a gamble. So I didn't know whether to unplug the cord that went to the light bulb or just pull the switch because the switch, oh, this is really tricky. So the switch, the pull switch also had a light. This is funny. Had a light bulb on one side and a plug. So it was like a plug on the cylinder on this side and a light bulb on this side over here, and then a plug right here, and then a switch. So I'm 7. So I'm thinking, well, maybe if I do this, it will turn off the socket too. Well, no, wait, that just turns off the light bulb. I learned this the energetic way, and I'm in overalls and bare feet, and there's about this much water on the ground, and there's little baby chicks everywhere, and the light bulb is broken, and it's dangling like this. And I decided I did decide I'm like, well, I need to save these chickens and myself, baby chicks. I mean, I love baby chicks. I wrote about baby chicks in my essay. When they drink water, it's like to me it was like obvious that that was the way that I noticed that the when we were driving on the road to Kobar to shopping, I would see men praying in the sunlight, and I would see their shadows, and they would look like the natural way a baby chick looks when it drinks the water, and then it raises its neck up to let the water go down, and it's like a gravity thing it's like so to me it was like that was a natural way to illustrate how natural it is to give thanks to God. And I put that in my essay. And that was why I didn't get the Presidential Scholar thing. It's because they thought that that was disrespectful. But actually, it was very respectful. They're just really daft. I was a kid. I think I was 18 when I wrote that, 17, 18. I didn't mean it at all disrespectful. I meant it like in the most respectful way. That like the prayer ritual and going down, coming up, and looks just like when the baby chicken drinks the water, and it's that natural. And honestly, when I finally became a Muslim, and I've been so afraid I haven't been able to be formal and orthodox at all. But I am Muslim though. In my heart, I am. I have no. And there's only one God, and He's Allah, and Muhammad and Jesus are prophets. I mean, it's like the last layer of the story. I mean, it's not. Also, my favorite is chapter 3. This is what was the key for me. Chapter 3, verse 2 of the Quran. It says, "Now this is the holy book of God." Now I'm sure if you're a new believer or if you're a revert, you're like, oh yes, you're right. But then this is what comes next. And he says, and the authors of the Quran, I guess Muhammad, or I don't know all that. I'm telling you, I'm a revert, but I've read enough to know logically that there's no, yeah, this is a good one. Because here's the thing. The minds that were at work, um, acknowledging the deity force and all of the different constituents on the planet Earth. This is one that includes the other players, the other. They're not opponents; they're collaborators in the on the planet. So we have the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims, or the Hebrews or the Judaics or the whatever. And in this book, in the Quran, on chapter 3, verse 2, it says, yes, this is the Quran, and it is the holy word of God. This is the next part. That's the most important. Then it goes on to say, and yes, God also sent down the Torah and the Gospels. Now, for me, growing up in a white cube, Third and Dwight Church of Christ, Monahans, Texas 79756, where we sit there for 4 hours saying we're the chosen ones and everyone else is going to hell for 4 hours, and this is why they're all going to hell and why we're all right for 4 hours, and this exclusive behavior in a white cube with no art and no music and no images and just a microphone and basically some water and it's random painting by a well-respected oil man's wife, Miss Cox. Yes, to read that in that book, this one at age 50, where it says now, this is the word of God, and God also said, also God. That's why I love. That's why I love Allah, because we say Allah, and then we also say love all, serve all, and I just put a there, so it makes it all love Allah, serve Allah. Hard Rock Cafe. So easy, right? So easy. Anyway, so yeah, so it says, this is the word of God, and he also sent down the Torah and the Gospels. So this is a book that actually acknowledges, sanctions, endorses, and says, yes, they are valid too. We're all on this planet together, working on this planet together as collaborators. We're all on this planet too, and we all are valid. And we are all, that changed. That's what I went, okay, sign me up. I was like, sign me up right there. Sign me up. I'm okay. I'm gonna guess I'm in. There is only one God, which is obvious. What's going on here? I dropped the phone. And he is Allah, Allah, and Muhammad and Jesus are his prophets. There's no question about that. And so the most recent video you saw was me in Newmar, like there's in Newmar, where they kept locking me out of my apartment or my rooms, and so I would call the police and say I needed a health check, and they would take me to the ambulance, and they would somehow help me, and then somehow not. And this recent one was like a test, and they changed that was the thing I was explaining. They actually changed the red and blue settings on the water dynamically while I'm doing it, and I caught them at it. And I'm extra sensory perception. I am, and I proved it. I'm like, you're really not playing fair, because I watched you and I showed you. I'm like you're watching me, and you changed the red to the blue to the red just to infuriate me, and I'm not playing with that. So I turned the water off, and for the cold water, I went over to the sink. But I yelled at them and I said, you're treating me like an animal lab rat science test. You're not treating me like a human being. You don't want to acknowledge my intelligence or my existence. You're trying to intimidate me and paint this picture that I'm incompetent because you can't place my gender and you don't know my predictable behavior, because I'm a brand new being. I'm a brand new species, and you're trying to make me dead and extinct, and I'm not going to let you do that. So that's what that video was about. Oh, and I'm sure if you don't speak French, or you'll perpetuate the myth that, oh, see there, he's insane. He's exhibiting that extreme behavior again. Yeah, but you're not acknowledging what you, Judy, you, Paul, and you, establishment, Brian Rogers, Orville Winsand, Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, what you guys are doing to perpetuate the myth that you're in control or that you are the authority on sanity. Now, let me explain to you the contrast and interesting paradox here, because we have a governor and a government where one of the officials during the pandemic, when they released everyone too quickly from their apartments and homes, and so they all went out dancing and eating and died. Like, oops, too quickly. And you know what Ted Cruz said? Oh, well, your grandfather would definitely give up his life for the Texas economy. Oh, would he, Ted? Would you? Would yours? Is that why you took it upon yourself then to go to, where did you go? Boca Raton, or was it Cancun for margaritas with your daughters? Because you can't handle that you screwed up that badly and killed that many people with your negligence. And you want to know why I left the Lone Star State? I don't know, maybe it was because Health and Human Services took it upon themselves to text me back, these little thugs, text me back and tell me that I'd be better off in China. Get out of their state. I'd be better off in China. And that I was a commie. Because I voted for Kamala, I was a commie. This is in writing. And I put this complaint in the complaint to Health and Human Services of Texas and got no response. Never mind the fact that at the very end, about October 29th, 28th, Brian came over from Edinburgh Tropical again, and he said, what he said, why do you get up in the morning? I said, because I'm a sculptor. He said, really? I know another sculptor. And their final work, was to be suicidal. I said, Brian, you're fired. I went to the psychiatrist, I got my discharge papers electronically imprinted, and I left for Paris. But I had planned that a year in advance with my friend Terry Hawkins, who's actually on both sides of the CIA. And they both were trying to throw me off a cliff because they want to paint the picture that I'm insane so they can take over power of attorney and all of my money and inheritance. And I don't really care about the inheritance or all that money. But now they're getting into my disability money and changing rules, regulations, and prices on my hotels. So I'm having a hard time managing it. And right now I'm completely penniless. And tomorrow at noon, I'm homeless. That's right, guys. Tomorrow at noon, I am homeless unless I can find a solution. So pray for me. I love you. And I'm doing all I can to help you. I wish you would maybe return just a little bit of the favor, just a wee bit. And at this point, no words, only actions. Thanks.